Hi, and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of ButterfliesDownHomeRecipes.com. Today we're going to be making a chicken corn chowder. To start, we're going to start with some applewood smoked bacon. We're just going to get this diced up. You want it kind of small pieces. You don't want real big pieces. It's going to give the chowder a nice smoky flavor. Okay, so the bacon's all cut up. I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of an organic extra virgin olive oil, and we're going to put it into our cast iron skillet. This is just going to help the bacon kind of get started so it won't stick to the skillet. We're going to turn it up to high, and we're going to go ahead and put this in and try to break it up as you're putting it in. You want to hear that nice sizzle. You're going to break it up so that it doesn't clump together and you have one big hunk of bacon in there. We're just going to get all this into the pot. And just continue to keep breaking it up as you put it in. I'm going to give my hands a quick wash. Anytime you're touching raw meats, you want to make sure to clean your hands and your cooking station as well. Okay, so we've got the bacon cooking. We've cleaned up our station. Just going to stir it up a little bit. And now we're going to add some spice to it. We're going to put just a little bit of cayenne ground red pepper. You want about 1/4 teaspoon. I'm going to give it another stir. Make sure all that pepper gets on all the bacon. And we're going to let this render down. We want it to get nice and crispy. In the meantime, we're going to start chopping up our vegetables. So we're going to get some garlic and an onion. We're going to do about 3 cloves of garlic. You're just going to smash it with the back of your knife. Remove the husk off of it. Okay. You're going to do that with all of them. I'm going to give this one a little more smash. Okay, so we've got the garlic. We're just going to mince it up. You want to try to get it kind of small. You don't want big bites of garlic. We are going to cook this though, so if you can't get them as small as you'd like, don't worry. Okay. We're going to set that aside. And now we're going to move on to our onion. I chose a white onion just because I love the flavor of the white onion. Has a nice, strong, oniony flavor. And when it cooks, it gets really nice and sweet. You want to make sure to pull off the outer layer. It's very fibrous and it does not taste well. And then we're just going to put a fine dice on this. Growing up, my mom would always make a lot of corn chowder. So as I've gotten older, I like to make her recipe sometimes, but every once in a while I like to put a little twist on it. And this is one of those times. We're adding the chicken and the garlic and, you know, kind of making it a northern and southern food together. Okay, so we've got our vegetables chopped up. We're just going to keep this bacon going. And we're also going to chop up a couple of red peppers. Just a couple of little sweet red peppers. It's just going to give another little sweet element to the dish. Just make sure to get all those seeds out of there. Okay? You want to, once you get them all cleaned up, you just want to dice them up nice and small. You don't want big pieces, so just kind of do a julienne, some nice thin little strips. Okay, turn it the other way, and just finish chopping them up. Once we get the bacon all nice and crispy, we'll go ahead and add all our vegetables to the pot after we remove the bacon. And we're going to put it on a plate with some paper towels just to drain away the grease. We only want to save maybe about a tablespoon of the bacon grease to cook our vegetables in. It'll give it a nice flavor. You'll get that bacony flavor in every bite. Okay, so the bacon is nice and crispy now. I'm going to use a slotted spoon and just get it out of our pan. Put it on a paper towel just so it can drain and stay nice and crispy while we're waiting for the chowder. Let's get all those bits. We don't want to waste any of those delicious bacon bits. Okay. And now I'm going to get rid of some of this bacon fat. Okay. Just because we don't want all of that in the chowder. We want to try to keep it a little healthy. Whenever you're dumping hot grease or fat, always make sure never to either put it in your trash can because it'll instantly melt your bag, and never dump it down your drain because it'll clog your pipes. Okay, so I'm going to take about a tablespoon of that grease that we just used and put it back into our pot, and then we're going to start adding our vegetables. So right now we're just going to start with the peppers and the onions. You want to throw the garlic in last because it will burn. And burnt garlic is bitter and nasty. So now we're going to add about half a teaspoon of paprika. And 1/4 of a teaspoon of dried thyme. And we're going to add some salt and pepper. I like to use an all-natural sea salt and fresh cracked black pepper. Make sure you continuously season and taste for your seasoning as you're going. And don't worry, it may seem like I'm adding a lot of pepper, but it's not. Okay, so we've got all our spice in there now. Just going to give it a stir, scrape up the bottom, get all those good bacony bits that were left behind. Now that that's started to cook a little, we're going to add our garlic. Okay. And we're just going to let this cook for a few minutes. You want them to get nice and soft. Okay. We're going to turn our heat down just a little bit because we don't want our vegetables to burn. And we're going to go ahead and grab some potatoes. Now these have already been cleaned. I washed them up, make sure there's no dirt on the outside of them because we're going to use them skins and all, okay? With these type of potatoes, the skins have a lot of nutrients in them. They're very good for you. And we're just going to dice these up. You want kind of small bites. You know, you want it to be able to fit on your spoon. And I'm going to just place these into a colander because I'm going to give them one quick rinse before I throw them in, just to rinse off a little bit of that starch. Okay, so our vegetables are nice and wilted down, nice and soft and tender. Okay, our potatoes we've diced up and we've given them a quick rinse just to rinse off some of that extra starch. And we're going to go ahead and add those in. Okay. Mix them all around in there. Make sure they all get coated with some of that delicious bacony goodness and all those onions and peppers. All right. Okay. Now we're going to take some organic chicken broth. Okay. I like to go organic whenever I can. It's just a healthier option. You don't have all the hormones and added things that they're adding to things nowadays. Okay? And we want to cover the potatoes. It's going to take probably the entire box. Now that was only 3 red potatoes, probably about 3 cups of diced potatoes. Make sure they're all down inside there. Okay, now we're going to get our corn ready. And as you can see, I have a little bowl here with that I've been putting my trash in. Just makes it so you don't have to run to the trash can every 5 minutes. We're gonna take our corn and we're gonna drain it. This is an organic corn. Like I said, I like to go organic whenever possible. It's just a sweet corn. We've got 3 cans of the corn. Okay, so we've got that drained. You want to make sure you get all that liquid out of there. When they can these vegetables, a lot of times they use a lot of salt just to help preserve it. So you want to get all that liquid out because you don't want all that extra salt. You want to be able to salt it yourself. Control what you put into it. Okay, so now we're going to add that right into the pot. Okay, so we've got the corn in there. Now we have 2 cans of creamed corn. This is going to help keep the chowder nice and creamy. And these you're not going to drain, of course. We're just going to dump those in. It's going to help to thicken it a little also. Just going to stir this all together. And now that we've added all this extra, we're going to re-season. You want to continuously season every time you add something. So we're going to put some more pepper. We're going to add a little more sea salt. We're going to turn it up to high so that it'll come to a boil. I'm going to grab my lid and we're going to cover it. We're going to let this cook until the potatoes are nice and tender. In the meantime, we're going to get our chicken ready. We're going to use a rotisserie chicken. I often will go to the store and pick up a rotisserie chicken, put it in the freezer until I need it for a night when I just don't have the time to spend cooking a chicken in the oven. We're going to take the chicken and we're just going to chop up about 2 cups of chicken. So you're going to take your knife, run it along the bone there, and pull that meat away from the chicken. Okay. Now that it's off the bone, you want to remove the skin because we're not going to use the skin. Make sure you have all the bones out. Go ahead and do it to the other side. Okay. Beautiful. We're going to start with the breast. You just want to chop it up into bite-sized pieces. You want everything to be about uniform size. Okay. So we're going to put it in our measuring cup. So we only need about 2 cups of chicken. I just love rotisserie chickens. They're so quick and easy. They've already been seasoned, already been cooked, and there's so much that you can do with them. You could also do this with leftover chickens that you have. If you've made a chicken the night before and you have leftovers, feel free to use that. It's a great way to use up leftovers. Okay, so that's about 2 cups of chicken right there. You can add more if you want more, but you want to try to stay around 2 cups of chicken. The rest of the chicken, don't throw it away. Put it in a Ziploc bag, throw it back in the freezer, use it to make a stock or a soup. Don't waste any of it, it's all good flavor. It's been simmering now for about 15 to 20 minutes. Our potatoes are nice and tender. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add in our chicken. Get all that chicken in there. So now our chowder has been cooking for about 15 to 20 minutes. Our potatoes are nice and tender. I just added in our 2 cups of chicken. We're gonna go ahead and add in our bacon. Stir that in. We're gonna add some whole milk. You want whole milk because you don't want it to get watery. You want that nice thick creaminess. You just want to bring it up, not quite to the top. You're going to use almost the whole quart. We've left about that much. And then instead of your traditional thickening agents like cornstarch and flour, I want to keep with the potato taste. And one thing that I've found that works really well to thicken this is instant potato flakes, okay? I try to pick the all-natural ones. And you're just gonna pour them in and keep stirring. A little at a time until you get the desired consistency that you want. It's gonna keep that nice potatoey flavor along with the corn and all those vegetables, the chicken, the bacon, the spices that we added in there, the thyme, the paprika, and the cayenne pepper. I think that's going to be plenty. Just get that stirred in there. And then we're just going to check it for seasoning. You always want to check, make sure you have enough salt and pepper or anything else that you might need to add to it. A spoon and just needs just a little bit of salt and pepper. Just gonna mix that in. You want to make sure to get all the way to the bottom, just in case any of those potato flakes sunk to the bottom and stuck down there. You're just gonna let that heat up. Make sure that cream gets all nice and hot. And then we're gonna get a little bit of cilantro. Or if you don't like cilantro, you can use parsley as well. And we're just going to use that as a garnish for the top. We've got a little bowl here. It's nice and hot. I'll go ahead and scoop some of this up. Some of that broth. You just take a little bit of the cilantro and just tear it in. All those oils are going to release. I'm going to give this a taste. Try to get a little bit of everything in there. Absolutely delicious. You can taste all the vegetables, the potatoes, the chicken, the corn. It all comes together nice and hearty, filling meal. Nice and warm if you've got a nice cold night and you want something warm and hearty. This is a great to-go-to item. I just want to thank you guys again for tuning in to butterfliesdownhomerecipes.com. Hopefully you'll tune in next week. And keep continuing to check back as we'll be posting new videos every week. If you'd like to make a donation, all donations would be greatly appreciated to keep us bringing these recipes to you. We do have a PayPal account set up, and there is a donate section on our website.